Okay, let's talk about an important point in photography. And yeah, I got a Twizzler hanging out of my mouth. Just what a fat dude needs, right? What is a hardcore important secret? And I made a video about this a year ago. I didn't go into it into really intimate depth. Intimacy. Disarming people. What is missing in your portrait photography? Let us assume, and this is a big assumption, that you know how to layer light, you know how to operate your camera with perfect ease and alacrity. You are as familiar with your camera as you are with your crotch. You don't have to think about it. One of the key things where true professional photography begins is when you've forgotten your damn camera. That means it just becomes, your brain doesn't go into works when you start to walk or when you're doing mundane stuff. I mean, you just do it mindlessly like a zombie. Your camera has to become like a zombie. So let's assume you could do all this. What's the secret of a professional portrait photographer? You got the best camera, you got the best lighting, you know how to use all of that stuff. If you don't know how to disarm your client and treat them like they're your brother or your sister or your wife or your husband, not that you're going to develop that level of intimacy in 5 minutes from someone that you just met. Even if you got the best lighting, the best camera, and you got them posed correctly, and the lighting and the diffuse and the specular and the shadow, it's all compositional, the picture is going to suck ass. It's going to suck. And this is true. And why does nobody talk about this? It's a very good question, I think, because the top YouTube photographers are a bunch of mouth breathers, A lot of people, I've read comments about me, and it says, I don't like him, I think he's salty, but he kind of gives me some good advice to think about. Well, that's good enough, I'm not running a popularity contest. I don't give a damn if you like me, I'm trying to be helpful. Okay, you got the hottest model, you got the perfect pose, you got the perfect lighting, you understand, yes, move over that way, click. Okay, could you raise your left leg? Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, could you sit over there? Yeah, yeah. Okay. You don't have credentials hanging on the wall like a doctor, okay? And, just some woman you just met, you're a gynecologist, you're like, please, ma'am, sit up on the couch on the chair thing there and stick your feet in the stirrup, and I'm going to put on this glove and I'm going to stick my hand into an orifice of yours. That's where you put trust in somebody based upon their credentials as a doctor or, the recommendation from some, that's a different type of disarming. You have to be able to disarm somebody like a doctor, except you use a different set of credentials. Hope to God you got the credentials that you know what the hell you're doing with your lighting and your camera, but you have to be able to disarm them. If you got the hottest model and you got the best posing, perfect lighting, perfect exposure, yes, could you please move over the yes? Yeah, that you will see that in your pictures. I'm going to give you two examples of I've seen this from two different types of professional photographers. One is far less professional than the other, and people don't like them. No, I'm not talking about myself. I know a lot of people don't like me. They got equal studios, equal skills with the camera, and I knew people like this when I worked back in the camera store. We had a studio in the back, and we had two different people. And the models and the clients would all come to this one guy, even though he's a worse photographer. Not a lot worse. But the reason they came to him, and I'm going to give you an example, is that he'd be like, hey, how you doing? What's happening? Hey, we're going to take some chat. You kind of get where I'm going with this. Yeah, we're going to go over there. And, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, could you do that? Yeah, that looks great. Could you, you have to disarm people. How let's be honest here. I'm going to get hardcore attack for this, but I am not a fan of Annie Leibovitz's photography. I don't particularly like her photographs. I'm not a fan of what they look like. Is she a professional photographer and she's just super, super famous and like the Queen personally requested her? Yeah, I'm not really a fan of her photography. I kind of think her pictures are boring. She disarms people better. She could like come up to a stranger and she has the personality and the demeanor that she could have some stranger, strip naked and, juggling ping pong balls with her butt cheeks in 5 seconds because she has the personality to disarm somebody. Complete strangers is like 5 minutes later she's taking a complete stranger and having them doing all sorts of freaky crap half naked, and she's got pictures like that. I'm not putting her down, I'm not a fan of her photography. And you have another photographer, another guy I work with, he had better skills. It's like, yes, could you move over there? Yes, no, yeah, could we do that? That really shows up in the pictures. It really does. It shows up in the pictures hardcore. Because when someone is over there, even though they may be a gorgeous model and you got the perfect lighting, and you're over here with a camera, is like with your personality, if you got the wrong personality and you don't know how to disarm somebody like they're your brother or your sister, it's like you've whipped out a knife and you're sitting there with it in your teeth going, yeah, could you move, you know. That scared the hell out. You can see that in the pictures. Like, well, I got the perfect lighting. I know the camera really well. It's like you can see that the client is like a deer in the headlights, and they're not necessarily scared of you. Whipped out a big combat knife. They're not scared of you. The point is that you have not comforted. You've not let them open up. It's kind of like how someone can't take a leak in the same room with you or the same bathroom as you until you get out. But if it was like your brother or your sister, like, you know, they've known your entire life and, you know, they don't give a damn, and, you know, like you're all cutting farts in front of each other because you're comfortable around each other, that stuff translates into the photography big time. And there is not one single damn professional photographer, I mean a real one, that if you played them this video and you said, look, is this fat tattooed asshole right or not? Look, no, he's right. He's damn right. You know, everything he said is right. Okay? So you're not going to say that this video is wrong. This video is 100% accurate. And there's not one single damn professional photographer out there that's going to disagree with me because it is accurate. And nobody talks about this stuff. I think I've seen it mentioned a few times. I don't even think they even taught us that back in photography. I don't remember any of our teachers in photography school teaching us that stuff. There was one guy, I mean, the women were just like lined up around the corner. He was a really ugly dude with zits and stuff. And he had like a crazy orange afro. He was like he was like a tall, ugly, skinny Irish dude. And what he had... No, that's not what he had. I don't know about that. What he had is the ability to disarm people for his photography, and you know, he would make them blossom. He'd joke around with them, he'd tell them jokes, and he'd comfort them, and they would get relaxed really easy. So you have to be a doctor, except in a different way. You know, you come into a doctor's office and they're like, you know, I've never met this person, but he's already telling me to get naked, and he's gonna, you know, lube his finger and stick it. Somebody check your prostate or something, you know. It's like, I trust the guy, so he's just, you know, he's a doctor. You have to be a doctor of photography in that way, except you got nothing hanging on the wall. It's like, this guy can take nude pictures. You know, you have to disarm them. You have to. Now, professional models are something else. They don't care if the photographer's crappy or not. They know how to work it, and even if the photographer's rude, there's actually a small group of fashion photographers. And some of them are real pricks, and I've met a few of them. And they don't disarm their models at all. But it doesn't matter, because the models are taught how to work it. They know how to pose. They don't really need much direction from the photographer. These people are a very, very rare exception. Everybody else, including you peeps, you have to be able to disarm your client. There's just no denying it. And, you know, you're either going to be the goofy guy, you know, with the licorice in his mouth, like, yeah, and you're going to disarm your client like they're your brother or your sister, or you're going to be like the creepy asshole or something. They're holding the camera and they're like staring back at you like you got a combat knife in your hand. Not literally. Not literally, of course, but you get what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. You got to be able to disarm your client. It will shine through the photograph, and it's not a part of lighting. It's not a part of your skills with the camera. It's not a part of your layering of light. It's not a part of the composition. It does play into the composition, of course. You know? This is the same difference between taking a picture of a live person and the same person in the same pose that's dead. It's like, this picture's dead. It's like, yeah, well, the client was dead. You know, she just died and I kept on taking pictures. That's exactly what will happen with your pictures if you don't disarm the client. It's like you're taking pictures of a living dead person, a zombie. That's what they ought to call it. When you don't disarm your client, they should call it zombie photography. Move your head over this way. It's like, people look at the pictures and go, you know, I don't know what it is because the model in your picture is really, really hot, but that picture just sucks ass. You know, the lighting is right, everything else is right, but your client looks like a zombie. This video is both fun, educational, and extremely accurate. And if you don't take it to heart, then you're going to get it wrong because this video is every bit of right. Okay? Get you later. Bye.